So,
Okay, let's move away from that and cross to Daily Trust this morning. I have this headline that says, Tinubu abroad 22 days in 1 month. What do you make of that?
I followed that travel route for a while, and I didn't think much of it.
Okay.
22 days. Why? You have a nation to govern. You won't see the president of America touring nations. Well, that might show our level of relevance, but it's not so good. It's not a good picture for us. You staying out of your country for 22 days. You're not on vacation. You're still on work. You should not be out of the country for 22 days.
I welcome you back this morning. Thank you for staying with us. This is newspaper headlines and analysis. I'm Oluwayemi Adelakwan. I'm not alone in the studio this morning. I have with me Oladele Emmanuel Abiola, public affairs analyst and entrepreneur. Welcome on board this morning.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, this morning let's start from this headline. That's the banner headline on the Guardian newspaper. It says, Nigerians turn to survivor businesses as formal jobs dry up. Now, what is going on? Because I've discovered that in recent times, even a lot of persons with white-collar jobs, 9 to 5, they resign, they start up a business. Is it because the economy is so bad, really? What is going on?
Yeah, the economy is so bad to that extent that averagely, when you get to the job business, when you go into the workforce, the labor force, the first minimum, let me say the average you'll be offered, is around 70,000 naira.
Wow.
What do you want to use 7,000 naira to do at this time? That's, okay, 77,000, that's the minimum wage, right?
Yeah.
Transport, feeding, other expenses alone does not, in fact, come within 77,000 naira. So yeah, it's that bad. It's that bad.
Even business owners are still complaining. So what's the way out?
Yeah, there was a time, I have a mom as a trader. There was a time when you could go to the market with 30,000 naira and come back with a lot. But now you go to the market, a family wants to complain to me that they go to the market with 150,000 naira now, and it's barely enough for them. So the market is that. So market women understand that when they go to their suppliers, what they get for 2,000 naira before, they get it for 4,000 naira now. They get it for 4,500. So you see that there's a lot of demand, but there's not enough money, and that's the principle of economics. That in the way it start affecting the market people, because those are the people who supply the daily needs of the people, and the people to give them the money do not have the money. You're paying someone 100,000 naira to do what? Transport alone is around 40 to 50k average for every basic Nigerian. 50,000 naira. Feeding now, you go to, okay, let's say you want to be fancy, you go to one popular restaurant, average food, a plate is 2,000 naira.
Okay.
30 days, 60,000 naira. That's over your budget.
Mario, do you have a background in statistics? Because I mean, the way you're giving me the figures, I'm intrigued. Right. But really, let's talk about this before we leave this particular story. Some politicians, the likes of Adams or Shiomale, and quite a lot of the popular ones, they go on national TV to say that the prices of food is dropping.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Have you met market farmers? Okay, farmers will tell you that fertilizers, we used to get it at this price, we get it at this price. Now, after producing, they lose some crops to herdsmen, wherever, and now they have to sell what is left. Then they start capping it. So you can't tell me that food price is actually dropping at that rate. Yes, sometimes it drops. So it's like a chart. It goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. But are we at a stage where things are no longer declining as we expected? There was a time where we were told that in 2 years' time, what used to buy rice, gari, and coal, what used to buy at some certain prices, we come down.
Okay.
Now, subsidy has been removed. Okay, there was a time they said they opened the border. However, we are not seeing the impact of this. Food prices are decreasing, honestly, but not at the rate that they're picturing to us.
Okay.
Not at that rate.
Okay, I think it's a fine place to leave that discussion. Let's move on and talk about this one, still in the Guardian newspaper. 2027 article holds talks with ADP leaders amid Obi Kwakwanso alliance rumor. Some persons are saying that there's a chance that Kwakwanso might just align with the likes of Obi and Atiku. Do you see that coming, and can that even take this APC out of government, the current administration?
I don't see taking the APC out of government.
Really?
However, I also don't see Kwankwaso Obi's coalition, because Kwankwaso has been a candidate that has been running for presidency since I've known him. His aspirations have always been for the presidency. So that coalition is saying is that Kwankwaso will either be a VP or be a minister.
Okay. He said he doesn't want to be minister. Is it that president or VP?
Or VP.
Yeah.
Then if he wants VP, definitely the coalition is a doable stuff. But if not, Kwankwaso is a front man. He wants to be there. So I don't see, even if Obi and Kwankwaso were to coalesce together, but I don't see them taking the current candidacy.
Okay, so what then happens to the likes of Amechi? Because these individuals are still in the ADC. Yeah. The likes of Amechi, the likes of, just like you mentioned, even Obi himself. Yeah. I mean, if Kwankwaso comes in and takes VP, then what happens to the rest?
Right. Okay. These have been long-standing members, like you said. Amechi has been there, others have been there. So you're saying Kwankwaso will come in. Yeah, that's politics for you, actually. You see some parties. For example, Oyo State government, there was a time where politics was raging, and a member just came to a party and he was chosen instantly. That's politics for you. As long as it aligns with the political party's goals, definitely, even though he comes in from the outside to take over the VP candidacy, yeah, it's a doable stuff.
Okay, it's a fine place to leave that discussion. Let's cross over to Nigerian Tribune, and I have this headline. Let's talk about Oyo State for a minute. Right. It says, my team will continue where I stop in 2027. That's coming from Makinde himself. And that headline has this rider as Peter Obi, Lord's governor for uplift of state. He's saying that his team will continue wherever it stops in 2027. But a lot of persons are saying, with all that is going on in Oyo State as we speak now, especially about the 50 billion saga, even with the park and the things that have been done in recent times, a lot of persons complain that, oh, my houses, our houses were destroyed, things like that. Do you think PDP has what it takes to retain Oyo State even after, Makinde leaves?
I don't think so. The old strong candidacy PDP has at the moment is Seyi Makinde, and however, he has expired his terms. He only has 2 terms, and he is almost done with the second one. And his team there's something about Nigerian politics that we actually lack, that we need to gain, is consistency in goals and projects. Okay. You see a regime coming in, then doing one thing halfway, another regime comes in, abandons, continues, and does another thing. So that's something that is lacking in our politics and in our government, and we actually need to focus on that. Now, Seyi Makinde assuring us of that is a good promise, right? He said that his team will come in and all. However, we should not forget that, one, Seyi Makinde is leaving this time. Secondly, I don't see who PDP wants to put against the other opposition parties. I don't see it yet. You've seen some candidacy trying to, in recent times, like a week ago, you've seen a candidacy trying to come out of the woodworks, projecting himself as the savior of Oyo State. So, is team doing something miraculous, something great for us at this time? I don't see it here, but I just hope that the next candidacy, this just is, if the next candidacy can acknowledge the works of Seyi Makinde and continue with that, I see Oyo State moving forward in the next 4 years, the next regime. I see Oyo State, in fact, picking with the likes of Lagos, because at the moment we are not, but we can. If they continue. Okay,
but don't you think PDP is really strong in Oyo State? And then I recall when Seyi Makinde came in, it was not really popular. But because of the popularity of the party, he won that election. So regardless whether PDP, decides to, bring up someone who is not so popular or not so strong, maybe because of the popularity or the strength of the party, he might just win. What do you make of that?
Yeah, that's a factor. That's a factor to consider in politics. However, sometimes, there's a way a political party. When Seyi Makinde came into PDP was at a very low point, to be honest. Okay. Seyi Makinde gave PDP the boost. Sometimes political parties give the candidate the boost, and the other way around. You see Peter Obi that we mentioned earlier, he gave ADC the boost. ADC was not in any way to vie for presidency at that point.
But ADC has Atiku, who has been contested since 1993.
Atiku had been contested, but he's not a popular candidate.
I might not really want to
agree with that. Sure. Yeah. That's why we have our opinions. Atiku is not a popular candidate, but Obi came in with a force, and he boosted ADC. So whoever PDP will be producing in Oyo State for the next election must be a major party, must be a major candidate. Okay. Because PDP as of today, without Sheyi Makinde, honestly, I don't see them as a viable party. I don't see them contesting.
Okay, especially with this old trouble with the
Saga.
court,
Thank you.
thing. You think, they're not doing so well as a political party.
And you consider the 50 or 30 billion naira?
Initially, Fayose said 50 billion naira was sent, but then your state government came back to say 30 billion was received and 20 was withheld.
That's politics for you.
Really?
That's politics.
Okay. It's a fine place to leave that matter, speaking about your state. Let's also look at another headline that says, Osun Assembly vows to recover all diverted local government funds, restate oversight, legislative power over local government areas. We've been having this back and forth over local government, especially in Osun State. And some persons are saying this same thing that the president is doing to Osun. He didn't like it when he was a governor of Lagos State, and then Obasanjo, was trying to do certain things. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I see it as a lot of times we take actions because we do not put ourselves in the shoes. When you said it, when our president was then governor, he didn't like it. But when he became the president, he understood that he needed to do it. So that's to show you something, that if a former president did it, and now he who was done against is doing it, that shows you that he has experienced it before. So he saw the need to do it. Now, if you talk about the diverted funds and all, we'll see that that's still one of the issues affecting our politics greatly.
Okay.
Because why would you divert funds meant for a particular sector, essentially the local government? So we still have that corruption issues and all, but going back to our issue, yes, I feel like he understood that he needed to do it. So yeah.
It's affecting the governance, one way or the other.
Definitely. Like, it's like federalism is that the central government is independent, the state government are independent. So sometimes the state government do not want the federal government to come in and to interfere into their actions. But sometimes it's needed, like this. So, yeah.
Okay, let's move away from that and cross to Daily Trust this morning. I have this headline that says, Tinubu abroad 22 days in 1 month. What do you make of that?
I followed that travel route for a while, and I didn't think much of it.
Okay.
22 days. Why? You have a nation to govern. You won't see the president of America touring nations. Well, that might show our level of relevance, but it's not so good. It's not a good picture for us. You staying out of your country for 22 days. You're not on vacation. You're still on work. You should not be out of the country for 22 days.
Okay, so let's take it back to the Guardian now. Obi fought Tinubu on multiple foreign trips 2027 agenda. Don't forget that, he traveled recently to Turkey and then he slept. Yeah. And a lot of persons are saying, why should the president, sleep? I mean, the president of a country. But some persons are saying, it's no big deal if he sleep. Anyone can do that. But then at the end of the day, the presidency is saying he's doing all of this, so that, investment, more investment can come to this country, and then we can get better in terms of, economy. So do you think that is, a very good one, regardless of whatsoever it is that the opposition parties are saying? I mean, if it will bring investment to my country, why not? I'll go on the trips and then ensure that I bring these people on board.
Yeah, personally, I'm a major advocate for efficiency.
Okay.
So if you're delivering, even though you're not physically capable, but you're delivering, because majorly the work of the president is not really physically, it's mental work. He's putting things in place, giving this order, giving that order. If you can efficiently think of solutions for us and you can deliver, fine and good. If you sleep, all the best. But I believe that sometimes physically you need to be strong. Okay. There was a time where Joe Biden, of the former president of the United States, he had those similar issues.
Exactly.
And in fact, it was one of the major reasons why he had to stand down during the last election for the US. So I believe that even though it's good if you can deliver efficiently, but your physical strength determines a lot, because it is when you're physically strong that you can actually bring thought to yourself and put some things in place, put the right policies, do the right things. So yeah, if, like you said, if you can bring the right investment, although we are not seeing it yet, to be honest.
Really?
We are not seeing the impact it promised us yet. Yeah, they said it would take time, but yeah, this 3 years gone. At least we should see the horizon at the moment, but we've seen nothing. And we are sure that he's going for the next time. So I urge Nigerians to think twice, wisely, and pick wisely.
Okay, it's a fine place to leave that discussion. Let's cross over to this day and check the bonnet headline that says coup attempt was targeted for elimination, says a defense minister. Says Interpol after civilian suspect on the run discloses Nigeria security pact with Turkey and not to spite US. I mean, political transition could join APC soon, says ex-cities. What is going on, I mean, in the army? And the army as a whole. Why would the defense minister come out to say that he was targeted in that coup attempt and not just the president? I recall that the parade was cancelled for last year in Independence Day just because they heard rumors that a coup might actually happen if care is not taken. So really, do you agree with the defense minister that it's really not about the president now, but it's more about him?
Yeah, because when I read the story, it was a disgruntled colonel who failed his brigadier general exams, so his promotion exams. So he wanted to retaliate. So essentially, it's just impunity. So it's an offense to the military, and it's just basic impunity. There was no attempt on the presidency. Although you could call it a coup because the defense staff, chief of defense staff, is actually the head of the military. So definitely you can call it a coup against the military head. So yeah, we can call that. But it's the military. Things like this are bound to happen. We've seen other countries at the moment that underwent real coups. I think Cameroon and Niger Republic, they underwent the coup and all. So it's normal for the military. However, it's the civilian government that should understand how to tame the military. So on this side, actually, so it has nothing to do with the civilian government. It's just about the military system. And yeah, it's a bad thing, obviously. But then, yeah, I won't say there's a lot wrong. Of course, there was something wrong. That was why he agitated.
Exactly.
But it's not. I don't feel it's a big thing to cry about.
I like your stance, and I would love to up on a few things because I recall even during when military incursion happened back then in the 60s, 70s, there were major reasons why it happened, not just because there were corruption alone, but within the military, some junior officers felt that the senior officers were enjoying so much while the junior ones were suffering. As a matter of fact, most of the senior officers had access to the suites, enjoyment and luxury and all of that. So it led to, there was even a palace school within the military. Do you think that is happening currently?
Yeah, that's the same thing. Because it felt disgruntled by what the results showed. I told you it was a promotional exam. It failed. Maybe he expected that what I did, I should have passed this exam. And you've seen nepotism happening a lot in all sectors of Nigeria, military, federal, state, or no. You see people are being appointed into positions of power by nepotism. So he felt maybe he was bypassed. He felt maybe something was wrong somewhere. So yeah, that's why I won't say I'm on it. I won't like to support all these coup and all, definitely. But he must have seen something. Right, you must have understood, because like you said, you don't just act randomly. There was a basis for his action. But I also celebrate the military for being able to deter that and put it in place very, very well, because it could have gone more, it could have gone worse. The chief of defense was supposed to be killed, but it wasn't. So that was a great job. Okay,
before we leave this particular matter, do you think it was right for the military to deny this in the first place and later, I think about last week now came out to say that yes, there was indeed a coup attempt?
Yeah, something about the military is that they don't do the normal things civilians do, right? You expect if the presidency, if something happens to the presidency today, we expect them to talk. But it's the military. They have a system. They have a procedure. So I would think it's justified.
Okay, on that
ground,
basis.
Yeah. It's the military and the military intelligence.
Okay, so away from that, just before we go this morning, let's take a look at this headline that says, anxiety as Soludo reopens Onitsha market. There was, a bit of not even a bit now, intense, back and forth, throughout last week, because, there was a time the market women had to come out to protest to say that, okay, you have no right to tell us to close the market, this and that. Soludo is saying, I want to put an end to sit-at-home Monday that have existed for many years. What do you make of this at this point in time? Because, speaking about the stance of the market women now, and of course the stance of the governor.
Yeah, so it's on the part of the governor, it's an order.
Okay.
So it's not a law. Like, a law is that if you do this and you don't do this, this is the punishment. It's an order. Open the gates. Open your shops. You can tell me to open my shop, and I don't need to. So on the part of the market women, if they decide not to open their shops, they're fine and good. And in fact, it's their right. It's their right to own property. So you can do whatever you want with your property. So if the governor says open it, don't open it. All well and good. Unless there's a punishment. Definitely, when there's a punishment, it becomes something to be worried about. But if it's just another that open the shops, there's no more seat at home. The market women are concerned that the IPOB groups might come against them if they open the doors of their markets. However, it is up to them to also choose to do or not to do. So I get the part of the governor and I get the part of the market women. So it's a clash of, like what you say, clash of the titans. It's like the government against IPOB in the real sense. What we are just saying is governor and the market women, but in the real sense, it's the government and IPOB. So it's the clash of the titans. It's the grass underneath, the market women that's suffering at the moment. So yeah, it's up to both parties.
Okay, so what would be your best advice to the governor now in terms of how we should handle this matter? Because he also said something that he had a conversation with Nnamdi Kanu. And Nnamdi Kanu, mentioned to him expressly that he has nothing to do with this whole, sit at home and all of this, really.
Yeah, there's something called stakeholders.
Okay. So
Nnamdi Kanu, of course, is a stakeholder in IPOB. However, there are other stakeholders. So if governor wants to do something like that, that has a stance, that has a strong goal amongst the populace. Because the populace opinion is that there should be sit at home. But the governor wants to do something against it. So if the governor wants to do something on that, he has to speak with the stakeholders. The stakeholders will then speak with the populace that we've agreed. You don't just come with another in that way. In this sense, it's a cultural thing in these parts now. It's become a cultural thing. So you can't tell the people to do what, except it's a law, like I said, but you can't just come and other people around. It's a culture, it's an habit, now it has become part of them. So if the governor wants that, he has to speak with the stakeholders, speak to the populace, and then back her like that. So dialogue and mediation.
I think that's very brilliant. A big thanks to you, Oladele Emmanuel Abiola, for being a part of this segment.
Thank you so much for having me.
We look forward to more of you on this show. Thank you. This has been insightful. Honestly, and a big thanks to the audience for joining this segment as well. We need to take a short break, and when we come back, we move on to the big story. My name is Oluwayemi Adelakun. Please stay with us.